That's how you get to us. Fox Business host John Stossel is here. Welcome back, John. Good to see you again.
You too.
This is your dream, isn't it? Shut the government down. You're rooting for it, aren't you? You want to shut it down.
Well, I rooted for it last time. I thought people would say, wow, I never realized we didn't need these people. But the press always highlights every traveler who can't get a passport and every visitor who can't get into a park. I mean, they don't point out things like Michelle Obama has a staff of 24. Eleanor Roosevelt had 2. I mean, there's so much fat. Obama today said most of the workers are essential. I don't think so.
But it is entirely politicized, isn't it? Shutting the government down means pointing the finger of blame to anybody who pays the slightest price for a government shutdown. It's all pure politics. Nothing to do with money, really, is it?
Well, the press coverage, it is natural that that's what they do because we cover the problems. I mean, nobody's out by the back fence gossiping about who's being faithful to their spouse. It's problems make the news.
We also cover those on Capitol Hill, and Nancy Pelosi just the other day talked about all the old people that are going to have to go without meals if the government shuts down. They're going to starve to death if the government shuts down. So it's the media, but it's the media covering those on Capitol Hill that we do every day. It's our job to do.
And the elderly are the wealthiest group in America. There are twice as many kids in poverty, but the elderly are going to starve without these 84 separate government programs.
Don't talk about the kids like that, John. You're going to give them all ideas.
All right, let's move on from this. Okay, forget shutting the government down this time around. Look at the debt ceiling. You don't want to raise the debt ceiling so we borrow more money, do you?
I don't care. I just want to cut the spending. And on my show tonight, we will cut the spending. But, you know, even it's in a way, my head is spinning. It was so wonderful this week after these Republicans were saying we're going to cut the non-defense discretionary spending. Now, Paul Ryan is talking about $6 trillion entitlements. But even his cuts don't make a decision about what should government do. Should there be an education department? There shouldn't, but he doesn't cut it. What should the military's role be? Should we have troops in 100 countries? He doesn't cut the military at all. He doesn't raise the retirement age. We're going to cut more tonight. There's more to do.
You really are right out there as a radical, aren't you? I mean,
why is it radical? Government is supposed to be limited. It's supposed to keep the peace, border control. The EPA is...
It's radical because if we did what you want us to do, you would wipe out almost all of the government as it now exists. That is a radical move.
Okay, but that's the road to prosperity.
Deathly silence on the side.
Brings prosperity.
Charles?
John, do you feel the Republicans have once again been outpsyched by the Democrats? In other words, they're already in this blame game if the government shuts down. Instead of stepping up and saying, listen, I'm proud that we're making a tough decision. How come no one, it seems like everyone stumbles when it comes to that?
Well, that would be a good way to put it. I mean, the politics is not my area. I don't know what they should say. I just wish they would cut.
John, we hear from polls all the time. People say, cut, but don't cut mine. Don't cut what I get. You speak to people out on the street and in your audience. Are you hearing the same thing?
Yes, and I mean, some of the people on the street, when we go out and do that, it's a little frightening. They don't even know what the government does, but they don't want anything cut.
Right.
They say government should spend less on movies, things like that.
Well, okay, tonight on your show, it's all about the government shutdown, all about stopping this spending, right?
It's mostly about the spending and the Ryan plan, and now the Republican Study Committee is about to come out with even more cuts than the Ryan plan.
Do you approve of the Ryan plan? You approve of it?
Well, except that it doesn't really ask what should government do.
Well, what's this, another plan that's coming out? What's that?
The Republican Study Committee, which is a little more hardcore, is at noon, I'm told, going to release a new plan with more cuts than
more than $6 trillion over the next 10 years.
It doesn't get to pass the debt until 2050 or something.
Look, I know politics is not your arena, but do you think that the American voter would accept major, huge cuts in all kinds of spending all across the board? You think they would?
Probably not.
Exactly.
But
we need to do it.
But I don't think you're giving the American people enough credit.
Good.
We know where we are. We know we have issues. If you give us enough time to plan for these cuts, I actually think people would be open to them. If you tell me you're going to cut me Friday, I'm going to be mad at you.
But this isn't
and welfare reform, I never thought that was possible. People will scream, there'll be blood on the streets. And yet it happened. It made life better.
Watch Stossel's show tonight on the Fox Business Network, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. It's called Stossel. He's the man. 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, John.